Hello everyone. If you look at success from far away, it looks beautiful. It looks like lights, applause, money, big buildings, headlines, interviews, and smiling photographs. But if you come closer, if you stand behind the curtain and look at the real story, you will see something different. You will see rejection. You will see fear. You will see failure. You will see nights when nobody believed. You will see a young man standing outside doors that never opened. You will see a person who was not the smartest, not the richest, not the strongest, and not the most talented. And that is where my story begins. Not with Alibaba, not with billions of dollars, not with global attention. My story begins with a small boy in Hangzhou, China, born into an ordinary family, carrying an extraordinary curiosity inside him. My name was Ma Yun. The world would later know me as Jack Ma. But before the world knew my name, I had to learn how to believe in myself when nobody else did. I was not born with power. I was not born with money. I was not born with a famous family name. I was born with the questions. I wanted to know why the world was so big, why people spoke different languages, why some people traveled across oceans, and why some people were afraid to dream beyond their street. When I was young, China was changing. Foreign tourists began to visit my city. Many people looked at them from a distance, but I looked at them with curiosity. I wanted to speak to them. I wanted to understand them. I wanted to know how they thought. But there was one problem. I did not know English. So I did something simple. I got on my bicycle. Every morning, I rode my bike to places where foreign tourists stayed. I did not have money for expensive English classes. I did not have powerful teachers waiting for me. I did not have perfect conditions, but I had a bicycle. I had time and I had hunger. So I offered tourists free tours around my city, and in return, I practiced English with them. Some people laughed at me. Some people thought I was wasting time. Some people did not understand why a young Chinese boy was so interested in foreigners. But I was learning something bigger than grammar. I was learning confidence. I was learning communication. I was learning that the world is much bigger than the place where you are born. One foreign friend gave me the name Jack because Ma Yun was difficult for him to pronounce. That is how I became Jack. But remember this, a name does not create your destiny. Your daily habits create your destiny. Your curiosity creates your destiny. Your discipline creates your destiny. For years, I practiced English. I made mistakes. I used wrong words. I sounded strange, but I kept speaking. Most people stop because they are afraid to look foolish. I was willing to look foolish. That became one of my greatest advantages. If you are willing to look foolish while learning, one day people may call you wise. If you are willing to be bad at something long enough, one day you can become good. And if you are willing to begin with nothing, one day you may build something nobody expected. But my journey was not easy. In school, I was not a genius. I was not the student everyone pointed at and said, this boy would change the world. No, I struggled, especially in mathematics. Numbers did not love me, and honestly, I did not love them either. When it was time for college entrance exams, I failed. Not once, more than once. That kind of failure hurts deeply because it is not private. Your family knows, your teachers know, your friends know, and the worst part is that you know. You look at your result and ask yourself, am I not good enough? Many people give up at that moment. They think one exam has decided their whole future. But an exam is not your life. A rejection letter is not your identity. A failed test is not your destiny. It is only a moment. And a moment can be changed by another moment. So I tried again. I studied. I returned. I failed. I tried again. Eventually, I entered university and studied English. It was not a famous path to wealth. It was not glamorous, but it was my path. Later, I became an English teacher. My salary was small, very small, but teaching gave me something money could not give me. Teaching taught me how to speak to people. It taught me how to simplify ideas. It taught me how to listen. It taught me that if you want to lead people, first you must understand people. Many young people think leadership means standing above others. No, leadership begins when you serve others. A teacher does not win because he is louder than the student. A teacher wins when the student grows. That lesson stayed with me forever. Even years later, when Alibaba became a large company, I still believed that people are more important than systems, more important than technology, and more important than money. Technology changes, markets change, competitors change, but people are the heart of everything. Before success came, rejection came again. I applied for many jobs. I was rejected again and again. There is a famous story people often repeat. When KFC came to my city, many people applied for jobs. Most of them were accepted. I was not. Imagine that. You are not rejected by one dream. You are rejected by a simple job. You begin to wonder, if I cannot even get this job, how can I ever build anything big? At that time, rejection did not feel like protection. It felt like humiliation. It felt like the word was saying, you are not wanted. But today, when I look back, I understand something important. If I had been accepted into every job I wanted, maybe I would have become comfortable. If I had become comfortable, maybe I would never have become hungry. And if I had never become hungry, maybe Alibaba would never have been born. So do not hate rejection too quickly. Rejection may be training your spirit. Rejection may be building your patience. Rejection may be moving you away from a life that is too small for you. One no is painful. 10 no's are discouraging. 30 no's can break your confidence. But if your dream is real, every no can become fuel. I did not know business. I did not know technology. I was not a computer expert. I was not a rich investor. I was not from Silicon Valley. I was a teacher with a dream. And sometimes that is enough to begin. In 1995, I had a chance to travel to the United States. That trip changed my life. A friend introduced me to the internet. Today, the internet is everywhere. You carry it in your pocket, you use it without thinking. But at that time, for many people in China, the internet was almost like magic. I remember seeing a computer connected to the world. I searched for simple words. I looked for information. And then I noticed something. There was very little information about China online. That surprised me. China had a history. China had people. China had products. China had businesses. But on the internet, China was almost invisible. And in that empty space, I saw opportunity. Many people see what exists. Entrepreneurs see what is missing. That is one of the biggest differences. If you only look at what is already there, you may become a follower. If you look at what is missing, you may become a builder. I came back to China with excitement. I believed the internet could connect Chinese business to the world. But belief is not enough. You must act. So I started one of my early internet projects, often known as China Pages. It was not a perfect success. Actually, it was full of problems. People did not understand the internet. Many businesses did not trust it. Some people thought I was crazy. Some thought the idea was too early. And maybe it was. But even when that project did not become the success I imagined, it taught me priceless lessons. Your first dream may fail, but it can still become the classroom for your second dream. Never waste a failure. If you fail and learn nothing, then failure is only painful. But if you fail and learn deeply, then failure becomes an expensive university. And I paid tuition many times. I learned that timing matters. I learned that trust matters. I learned that small businesses need opportunity. I learned that technology alone does not solve problems. People solve problems using technology. That idea became very important later. In 1999, I gathered a group of friends in my apartment. There were 18 of us. No luxury office. no powerful background, no guarantee, only a belief. We believed that small businesses in China deserved a chance to sell to the world. At that time, large companies had resources. Big businesses could travel, advertise, and connect internationally. But small businesses were invisible. I wanted to help them. I wanted to build a platform where small businesses could find customers, where trust could grow, where opportunity could move beyond borders. We needed a name. I wanted a name that people everywhere could recognize. A name that felt global, simple, and full of possibility. Alibaba, like the story of Open Sesame, a door opening to treasure. But for us, the treasure was not only money. Some said, "You do not understand technology." They were right. I was not a technical expert, but I understood people. I understood small business owners. I understood the pain of being ignored. I understood the frustration of having something valuable, but no way to show it to the world. If you want to build something great, do not start by asking, what technology can I use? Start by asking, what problem can I solve? Technology is a tool. Mission is the engine. Without mission, technology becomes noise. With mission, even simple technology can change lives. In the early days, we had almost no money. We were working hard, but the results were slow. There were days when the future felt uncertain. People outside saw a small group sitting in an apartment talking about global trade through the internet. It sounded impossible. But every big company was once a small group of people who sounded impossible. Every giant company was once a crazy idea. Every respected founder was once a beginner. Nobody respected. That is why you cannot wait for everyone to believe in you before you begin. If everyone already believes in your idea, maybe you are already too late. In the beginning, belief is usually lonely. You carry it before the world understands it. You protect it when people laugh at it. You feed it when there are no results. You keep going when the only evidence you have is the fire inside you. And that fire must be stronger than other people's opinions. At Alibaba, we made mistakes. Many mistakes, but we moved fast. We learned fast, and we stayed close to our customers. One principle became very important to me. Customers first, employees second, shareholders third. Some people disagree with that. They say shareholders are the owners. But I believe if customers are happy, the business has a future. If employees are happy, the business has strength. And if the business has future and strength, shareholders will be rewarded. But if you only chase investors and forget customers, you may win attention and lose the company. The customer is not a number. The customer is a person. A small business owner may be feeding a family. A buyer may be trusting you with money they worked hard to earn. Every transaction is built on trust. And trust is more valuable than traffic. In the early internet world, people were excited about clicks, users, and growth. But I kept thinking about trust. If buyers do not trust sellers, they will not pay. If sellers do not trust buyers, they will not ship. If both do not trust the platform, the marketplace dies. So the real question was not only how do we create a website? The real question was how do we create trust between strangers? That question later became central to our work. When we built payment systems and marketplaces, we were not just building business tools. We were building confidence. Confidence is invisible, but it moves money. Confidence is invisible, but it creates action. Confidence is invisible, but without it, the internet becomes an empty street. One of the greatest challenges came when we had to compete with giants. There were companies much bigger than us. They had more money. They had more experience. They had stronger brands. Some people looked at them and said, you cannot win. But competition is not only about size. A big company can have money and still move slowly. A small company can have little money and still move with heart. Our advantage was not that we were richer. Our advantage was that we understood our market deeply. We listened, we adapted, we respected local users. We understood that business is not only about copying a model from one country and placing it in another. People are different, cultures are different, habits are different, trust is different. If you want to win, do not just copy, understand. When we launched Taobao to serve consumers and small merchants, many people doubted us again. But doubt was already familiar to me. By then, rejection was not new. Failure was not new. Being underestimated was not new. And that became a strength. When you have been rejected many times, fear begins to lose power. Not because you become fearless, but because you realize rejection did not kill you. It hurt you. It embarrassed you. It slowed you down. But it did not end you. And if rejection cannot end you, why should you worship it? Why should you let one person's opinion become the prison of your future? Keep going. Keep learning. Keep serving. That is how confidence grows, not from easy victories, but from surviving difficult days. There is something I often think about. Most people give up at the darkest moment. They work hard for a while. They try. They struggle. Then life becomes harder. The dream becomes heavier. The results do not come fast enough, and they quit. But sometimes success is very close after the worst night. Today may be difficult. Tomorrow may be even more difficult. But the day after tomorrow may bring sunshine. The problem is that many people give up tomorrow night. They never see the sunshine. So if you are building something right now, remember this. Difficulty does not always mean you are on the wrong path. Sometimes difficulty means you are close to a breakthrough. A seed does not become a tree in one day. Before it breaks through the ground, it is buried in darkness. Nobody claps for the seed. Nobody sees the roots growing. But without that underground struggle, there will be no tree. Your life is the same. There are seasons when nobody sees your effort. Nobody sees your late nights. Nobody sees you learning alone. Nobody sees your private tears. Nobody sees you trying again after rejection. But those hidden seasons are not wasted. They are roots. And roots must grow before the world sees fruit. When Alibaba began to grow, people started calling me successful. But success brings new problems. Failure is hard, but success is also hard. When you are small, people ignore you. When you grow, people criticize you. When you are unknown, you worry nobody is watching. When you are famous, you realize too many people are watching. Every stage has pressure. So do not imagine that success means the end of problems. Success only gives you bigger problems to solve. The question is not, how can I avoid problems? The question is, what kind of problems am I willing to carry? If your mission is small, every problem feels heavy. If your mission is meaningful, even heavy problems can feel worth carrying. For me, the mission was never only about becoming rich. Money is useful, but money alone is a weak purpose. If your dream is only money, you may become rich and still feel empty. If your dream is impact, money can become a tool. When small businesses used our platform, when entrepreneurs found customers, when people began to believe they could participate in the global economy, that gave meaning to the work. A company should not exist only to take value. A great company creates value. It creates jobs. It creates trust. It creates hope. It creates opportunity for people who were previously invisible. That is the kind of business I respect. Not the business that only asks, how do we defeat competitors? But the business that asks, how do we help more people win? When you help others win, your own victory becomes stronger. I also learned the importance of team. Many people think a founder builds a company alone. That is a myth. A founder may carry the vision, but a team carries the weight. Those 18 people in the apartment were not just employees. They were believers. They were builders. They were willing to walk into uncertainty. And when you find people like that, respect them. A great team is not made only of perfect people. A great team is made of people who trust each other, challenge each other, and refuse to quit together. I was not the smartest person in the room. Many times, I hired people smarter than me. That is important. Weak leaders are afraid of smart people. Strong leaders invite smart people. If you are always the smartest person in your team may be too small. Do not hire people only to obey you. Hire people to improve the mission. A leader's job is not to show everyone how powerful he is. A leader's job is to make everyone more powerful. That is what teaching taught me. That is what business taught me. Again, as Alibaba grew, the world began to pay attention. Investors came, media came, opportunities came. But attention is dangerous if you do not stay grounded. When people praise you too much, you may begin to believe you are special. But no founder is bigger than the mission. No leader is bigger than the team. No company is bigger than the customers. The moment you forget that, decline begins. So I tried to remember where I started. The boy on the bicycle, the student who failed exams, the young man rejected from jobs, the teacher with a small salary, the beginner who did not understand computers, the entrepreneur people called crazy. Those memories kept me humble. Never be ashamed of your beginning. Your beginning is your foundation. If you came from struggle, that struggle gave you strength. If you came from rejection, that rejection gave you resilience. If you came from poverty, that poverty may have given you hunger. Do not hide your scars. Use them. They prove you survived. In 2014, Alibaba went public in New York in one of the largest IPOs in history at that time. Many people saw that moment as the top of the mountain.